As we know that deformation take place in plastic region, there is need to learn stress strain diagram, as it indicates how the material will be behave in elastic limit or in plastic region. So here you will find out that I have shown a graph. Along x there is strain, along y there is stress. So we define stress as an what? The applied load divided by the cross sectional area on which the load have been applied. So it is defined as an stress, and strain is after applying any force, what the length of your job is going to be changed, that length divided by actual, that is an original length before the change. So if you take a ratio of that, then you will get a strain. So here you will find out a rod has been taken. On that rod, tensile force have been applied on both the ends. So when you apply an initial load on this rod, we will find out that the grain will remain same, or it may happen that after applying a load the grain will change its shape, but as the load was not to that extent, again the grain will be coming on its original place. So you will find out that there will be no change in the grain, so it will be behave as an elastic limit. So you can define the same phenomena on this graph. Here the stress will be going to be increased with respect to the strain on x-axis. So up to a yield strain, or here there are the points like A, B, C. So up to A point, we can call it as an elastic limit. So whatever the phenomena we have observed right now on this part, that will be defined within this elastic limit. So further, when you apply a load, the load will be such that it will try to move this grain position from its original one, and after moving, a new position of grain will be taking place, and that will be not regain again its original position. So during this region you will find out that now deformation has been taking place, that material is changing its shape. So that region will be defining in this plastic region zone. So even we call this as an strain hardening region, where uh, you can find out that very less stress will be remaining, or stress will be decreasing by somewhat amount, and the strain will be increasing along x-axis. So for that reason we call this as an strain hardening region. And whatever the work we have to do, or whatever the shape which we want to give on a workpiece, that exactly behave in this curve. So there is a need to learn, or need to study the plastic region, so to get the shape to be changed on your workpiece. Further, when you increase the load to somewhat extent, now this point we call as an yield strain, and the last point we call within the plastic region as an ultimate strain. So after that the graph will be going to be down. So this is the strain where maximum strain that material can be sustained, so we call it as an ultimate strain. And here you will find out that as the plastic deforming starts, so we call this as an yielding. So this point is named as an yielding strain. Now in next figure you will find out that when you increase a load further, whatever the grains were present in this region, they will be try to shift towards the top side, and some of the grain will be try to shift towards the downward side, and you get a necking region in this, or the cross sectional area goes on decreasing in this area. So this kind of an behavior will be within ultimate strain to the necking point of this graph. So this graph indicates this kind of an behavior. So further, here a point will come where a rod will be break. So this will be a breaking point, and due to the ductile property of your material, you will find out that we get a V notch at the end of your rod where the breaking has been observed. If it was a brittle material, then you will find out that a flat surface will be observed, as a crack due to the crack, we'll get a flat surface over here at the end. So we are interested in this plastic region only, as we are giving a shape, or the shape of your material is changing due to this plastic phenomena. We are interested in this. So this can be defined as an the stress in this region can be defined as an stress is equal to Ke raised to n. So where stress is in megapascal and K is an strain coefficient in megapascal. Remember that 1 pascal is equal to 1 Newton per mm square. So whatever the values in numerical will be given related to stress, either it will be in pascal or either it will be in Newton per mm square. Then n is an strain hardening exponent. So when you take a slope vertical and when you draw, if you want to take a slope over here, that defines the strain hardening exponent. Then E is an strain hardening deformation. By this you can find out the value of an stress. So exactly this curve defines the flow of an material, isn't it? Because whatever the grains are changing, it has some flow. So whatever the stress will be generated in this region, we call now this as an flow stress. So in further you will find out that why this flow stress we give a name. Now as you have seen a blacksmith working on a metal, so he wants to give a C shape to this metal, as he can fix to the foot of an horse. You might have seen this part even for an ox also. So to give this shape, he is to hit the material and he is to apply a number of blows on it to get the final shape. Now as he is not an engineer, he don't know what amount of force to be given. So he is to hammer continuously. 100 of times he will be hammering and then he will get an final shape. But as an engineer, if you calculate the exact force required to give a final shape, then you can reduce that number of forces, blows which you required to give the shape, and you can also reduce the time. So as he required hour or 2 hours to get this shape, as an engineer, if you know the exact load force to be applied on it, that is an external force, you required hardly 10 to 5 minutes. So that is an work of an engineer. So it is defined as an flow stress will be defined as an F upon A, that is the external force divided by the cross sectional area where the force is actually applied. So it will be in mm square, force will be in Newton. So in this case we are interested to find out the value of an force, what exactly force required to give the final shape to this component. And once you know the force, you can find out the torque, and due to the torque you can decide which kind of an motor to be used, so that this amount of an force will be generated. So further we have different operation like forging, rolling, extrusion and drawing. So how this flow stress value will be changed in case of an forging? So in flow stress you will in forging you will find out that we apply a sudden load on an component. So due to that sudden load, there will be sudden deformation of material will be taking, or instant deformation of material will be taking. So in this case material behavior, that is flow stress, will be different, and that flow stress is defined as given as an Ke raised to n. In case of an rolling, extrusion and drawing process, you will find out that the material cross sectional area is reducing gradually. So in that case you have to consider it as an average flow stress, as there is a continuous deformation for a particular time. So in that region the average flow stress has to be considered, and it is given as an Ke raised to n upon n plus 1. So in numerical or in analysis you remember this concept, as we required further as well, and wherever you will be solving related numerical related to forging, we have to use flow stress as an k raised to n, and whenever you are solving numerical related to rolling, extrusion and drawing, you have to use average flow stress as an k raised to n divided by n plus 1. Thank you.